All right, welcome to the beautiful game, and Barcelona are champions. Mes que un club de Blaugrana are 2024-2025 champions of La Liga. And just yesterday, it was a 2-0 win against city rivals Espanyol. Now, something quite interesting about that match, I must say. Let me add this. When the match ended and Barcelona were about celebrating, now the 2020 22-23 season was won at Espanyol, and this time around, 2 seasons later, it was won at the same ground. Now, when the match ended, you know what these Espanyol fans did? They threw up the sprinklers to chase Barcelona out of the pitch. They had to leave the pitch, and Hansi Flick, before the game had prior to the game, had already mentioned that, of course, they would try to be modest and ensure. But there was a halftime incident that marred in some ways the celebration. Now, a driver, we saw the videos, a driver was just around the stadium. From what we know, was a female, and they were throwing stuff, projectiles at the car, and then she ran through, maybe fearing for her life, ran through some supporters. So there was no serious injury, there was no casualty, but a number of people were taken to the hospital for for checks and all of that, just to ensure that they were very okay. So there was no serious thing, but that marred the celebrations a bit. But Barcelona, of course, picked it and got to celebrate in the dressing room. They are champions. But let's take a look at some of the numbers as Barcelona picked La Liga this particular time. Okay, here let's start with the goal scorers. Of course, Kylian Mbappe is stopping at this moment. There are 2 matches to go, so there's still more chance. Barcelona, of course, 7 points ahead, so that mathematically makes them champions. Mbappe, of course, is leading with 28 goals. Robert Lewandowski, 25. Bodemir, 20. Now, this is the man of the season. That's talking about Rafinha. Now, Rafinha, with his performances this season and making all of that put together, let's take a look at what he has here. Yeah, Rafinha with his performances, 18. Now, this is what Enobo are talking about. With assist also, he's doing quite well on the assist charts. Perez Ayoze, of course, of Villarreal, 18 also. So this is quite good. Now, there's that talk about the player of the season, talking about Barcelona's player of the season or La Liga player of the season. All right. But let's also take a look at, this is shots taken, of course, overall. If you're going to score more goals, you're going to take more shots. But this is the funny thing here. Mbappe has taken so much more shots, 78, and has scored just 28 of the shots. Lewandowski, of course, with a 45, and he has scored 25. So, if you look at it, now, this is where you take a look at the ratio. Based on the ratio, Lewandowski has been far more clinical than Kylian Mbappe this season. So, for me, striker of the season has to be Lewandowski, because he has been far more clinical when it comes to the goals that have been scored or conversion rates based on shots and goals scored. Of course, when it comes to passes, defenders and midfielders always trump on this particular one. Kabasi, of course, quite on top there. Pedri, Inigo Martinez, Blin, and then, of course, Marcus. And then let's move to this one, quite an interesting one here. And this will be, okay. Let's take a look at this one. This will be assists. And that is where Lamine Yamal is leading, quite on top there. Of course, Lamine Yamal with 13 assists. Rafinha quite good there. So that's he there. With the goals, he's up there in the top 5. With the assists, he's also up there second place. So kudos to Rafinha, who I believe is Barcelona's player of the season, with probably Pedri. Now, I know people will go for Yamal. There's that craze about Yamal. There's no doubt. Yamal is exceptional. He's sensational. Good player. I mean, at 17 years, over 100 caps of Barcelona, not even Lionel Messi could do that. But at this particular point, based on what we have of the season so far, Pedri has been quite the man when it comes to that particular team. So, Pedri, I would give it Pedri, Rafinha for my player of the season for Barcelona. But there you have it. Jude Bellingham, of course, on 8 assists. And then recovery stats, it's also the saves. And this is where you're talking about the goalkeeper, which I think should be the reason. Now, saves or save percentage should be the reason why you pick the best player or best goalkeeper rather than clean sheets. Now, for clean sheets, you have the whole defense involved. But when it comes to save and save percentage, you're talking about how good the goalkeeper's ability specifically. So big shout out there to Juan Garcia, Herrera, of course, second on that one, Dimitrovic, Gazzaniga, and of course, Jasper Cillesen, who Well, remember him at Barcelona, of course. He is there with 91 saves. Of course, top Johan Garcia with 140 saves. And that is how some of the numbers when it comes to La Liga. And it's already over. As you can see from the table here, Barcelona 7 points ahead, just 6 points to play for, mathematically confirmed as La Liga champions. Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, Athletic Club, Villarreal, Real Betis, and all of that goes there. Edgar, of course, is here on standby. I'll just have his take before we move to the EPL on Barcelona winning La Liga over Real Madrid this particular season. Of course, apart from that, they do have the Copa del Rey, so there is a domestic, treble for Barcelona this season.
Yes, it's the end of the La Liga season, and I mean Barcelona has already carried the cup. Super happy for them as well. I don't know. Would you say Mbappe had a terrible season first season?
No. He's already the record. He's already the record goal scorer for a debut season. He has broken that record, 38 and 39 goals. So he has actually had quite an excellent season. You understand? So kudos to Kylian Mbappe. The problem will now be the rest of the team. Like I said, I was looking at goal conversion ratio. Mbappe has taken 78 shots in the league and scored 28 of that. Robert Lewandowski has taken 45 shots and scored 25 of that. So when you put it there side by side, based on ratio, of course, a far more clinical striker will be Robert Lewandowski.
I also feel he isn't playing in his favorite position as well. So
that is a conversation to be had, definitely.
Yeah, let's see what happens when the summer transfers kicks in, and then
all right,
let's see what happens with Real Madrid as well. But good game with Barcelona, happy for them.